Zeal. Zeal is my ability to move forward through spiritual motivation. Zeal results in my enthusiasm and joy. Zeal is my affirmative impulse of existence. Zeal harmonizes you with the universe. Zeal is the opposite of nostalgia and apathy. Too often, being dedicated to God's work is considered to be a sorrowful, heavy experience which is full of martyrdom. This is a mistaken idea. If a person feels this way about serving, he is not drawing upon his God-given gift of zeal. Zeal generates pleasant spiritual motivation for consciousness development. Zeal is your ability to move forward in developing awareness and loving it at the same time. You are aware that man has evolved and improved physically. Throughout the years, his body has adapted and grown stronger through proper nutrition. But man has had spiritual progress as well. This has been motivated by a desire to grow. It is a pleasant, low-key desire which serves as fuel for motivation. It is proper nutrition which causes a warm, deep desire for soul food. Zeal is your spiritual appetite. Without it, you would neither care about spiritual progress nor enjoy spiritual thoughts and feelings. Zeal is spirit, silent, still, and is ever urging you onward to greater awareness of your Christ self. Zeal results in joy and enthusiasm. From silent zeal, you draw joy, which is still quite low-key and deep as a living experience. Joy is the first expression of zeal and is the most usable form of zeal in the human experience. Joy is the use of zeal at very low frequency. Therefore, the mind and heart are not confused because these frequencies are easily incorporated into spiritual activity. When you are using zeal as joy, you have not entered that range that is similar to physical pleasure and excitement. Now, enthusiasm vibrates at a higher frequency, which resembles the vibrations of sensual pleasure. There is nothing wrong with sensual pleasure in the human experience unless it is confused with or supersedes spiritual motivation. If it replaces zeal or spiritual motivation in importance, it becomes a threat to one's progress. It becomes a diversion. Unfortunately, sensual pleasure has been labeled bad and something to avoid. This is ridiculous. It is merely a part of your animal nature that needs to be kept in perspective. It is very useful in expressing and spending less energy, but certainly it is not to become the goal or way of life. So we see zeal in its various frequencies as silent zeal, joy, enthusiasm, and we will add exuberance. They are all good and have purpose. The closer one moves toward exuberance, the more the store of zeal is spent. If one feels enthusiasm waning, it is time to return to the silence and replenish himself, just as one does with strength and power. How wonderful to know there is no limit to the source of your supply. But it is vital to keep in mind that this almighty source is meant to be drawn upon for spiritual growth, rather than just pleasurable experiences. If you abuse your mind, soul, and body, you are in for some drastic negative experiences. Zeal dissolves subconscious barriers and conscious beliefs. Without the desire to move forward, you can never overcome negative limiting beliefs or face hidden fears. There is nothing so fixed in your consciousness that zeal can't dissolve and overcome. Once fixed beliefs and fears are shattered, their very structure is exposed to the light of truth. There is no disease that can survive in light, and zeal is ever urging you onward onto the light. There is a rhythm to the universe. Call it the heartbeat of God or whatever. There are definite cycles and rhythms in nature, in mankind, in the universe, and in spirit. The oceans have high tide and low tide. The year has seasons. The heart contracts and relaxes. Zeal harmonizes you with the universe. When you are spiritually motivated, you need not strain in your development of consciousness. The very rhythm of all that is will literally carry you forward. This is your tuning in to the zeal that is all about you. When your motives are based upon fear and self-service, you have to make tremendous effort to even keep up with life. So it is a great advantage to you to steel yourself to the divine motivation of zeal. If you fall out of step with this rhythm, either you lose all incentive or you can speed up your activities into meaninglessness. If you fall out of step with this rhythm, either you lose all incentive or you can speed up your activities into meaninglessness. In the first place, if you lose spiritual incentive, you are heading for an experience called depression. Out of panic, you may try to overcompensate by seeking outer excitement. This can result in excessive enthusiasm and exuberance to the point of complete exhaustion. This kind of energy spent on egotistical endeavors cannot move you beyond fears or negative beliefs. In fact, it accomplishes the opposite. The minute you meet an obstacle, you crumble, believing that the obstacle is much more powerful than you. There is no joy found in this situation, only disillusionment. There is no such thing as the absence of zeal. If you hear someone say that he has no enthusiasm, you may assume he is merely unaware that he has access to limitless zeal, joy, and enthusiasm. He is not consciously experiencing enthusiasm, but he has all he will ever need right now. If one feels the lack of zeal and enthusiasm, he feels apathetic. Zeal is the opposite of apathy, nostalgia, and regret. Apathy feeds on the grip of the past. The thought of past deeds, whether fondly or regretfully held onto, can grind your forward thrust to a halt. Turning to the past for pleasure or guilt stifles any joy or enthusiasm for God's divine plan for you. It is vital that you release the past and all the concerns that go with it, or else you cannot steel yourself towards zeal. Memories that would hold your attention are noisy. There are two ways to deal with memories. They can drag you backwards so that you can escape the present, or you can bring them forward to experience in the now for spiritual purposes. The motive is the key. And remember, zeal is spiritual motive. Pleasant memories can be a now experience, which can assist in inspiring you into drawing upon your spiritual gift of zeal. This is in useful cooperation with imagination. The motive is pure and legitimate. Constructive memories, which align you with true joy, are quite valuable to your present consciousness, but they must not become your goal. They are to serve as a launching pad for spiritual motivation. If, for instance, fond memories of your mother and father inspire strength, love, and wisdom in you, and help you model your life in spiritual directions, you are utilizing zeal in you. If, on the other hand, you want to cling to the memory of your parents feeling that everyone else is wicked and things just aren't as good as they used to be, you are escaping to the past. Regret is a crippler of two of your spiritual gifts, judgment and zeal. In judgment, it feeds on poor choices. But in the case of zeal, it pulls the focus from go forward to look back. In order to feel the affirmative impulse of the universe, you must focus forward. The kingdom of heaven is the realm of ever-expanding ideas. And to experience the kingdom of heaven, you must involve yourself in the process of expansion. Heaven is not a place. It is a process and an experience for you to enjoy. Your desire to expand in consciousness is motivated by spirit as zeal. With the use of any of your spiritual gifts, release is an important factor. Very often, forgiveness is involved with release. With no forgiveness or release, you can't be free of past memories and regret. All forgiveness involves forgiving yourself in some way. Forgive yourself and steel yourself towards zeal, so you may be propelled beyond limited beliefs and fears.